guys.
A shit show, a pure shit show. It literally takes a village.
I don't know if it was dirty or clean.
Oh my god.
Bad mom.
Like
Gone
that
wild. Yes.
Because I'm shining.
Woo! That was good, guys. Of Halloween night.
Are you guys dressing up this year?
Yes.
Of course.
You are? What? What are you guys going to be?
You know what? We haven't dressed up since in like 10 years, like as a family. Like 10 years ago when my first son was only 1,
That was my favorite.
we were Popeye, olive oil, and sweet
So
corn.
That's cute.
That was my favorite. It was so cute.
And then, it was like, I would told myself, I'm going to do it every year. We're going to have a family, and then you realize like
Theme.
you're broke and you can't afford it every
Costumes are
freaking
so
year.
expensive.
They
You can make
are.
stuff. You can make the costumes.
But
If
the
you're
more
creative.
real and make the costumes.
But the more kids you have, the more like time consuming it is,
Yeah,
and then
definitely time
you're
consuming.
getting them dressed up. And then by then you're like, oh, forget it. I'm not even going to dress up this year. So I always intend on dressing up, but I never do it. But this year, because everything has changed because of COVID, I feel like we'll have extra time and we're going to be the Nightmare Before Christmas.
That'll be cute.
Family.
So let me just tell you. So my husband's going to be Jack the Pumpkin King. And since high school, I've always wanted to be Jack and Sally, right? He's going to be Jack the Pumpkin King and I'll be Sally. But my daughter has just recently gotten into the movie and she loves it. And she's all about
She
Sally.
wants to be Sally.
She wants to be Sally. And
You have to give us Sally, girl.
My husband's like, you have to not be Sally. Let her be Sally. And I'm like, no, I'm Sally, damn it. And so I literally tried to convince her, like, how
To
about
be what?
Mom Sally? And I wanted the boys and her to be the Oogie Boogie kids, right? The little witch and the devil and the little skeleton kid. But she wasn't having it. She was like, I want to be Sally. And then she's like, we both can be Sally. And I'm like, there's not 2 Sallys.
Oh my God. So how are you about to do this?
No, so she'll be Sally. I'm letting her be Sally, and I'm gonna be the Oogie Boogie kid with the
boys.
It works out because the witch is taller than the rest of the boys, so I'm gonna be the Oogie Boogie kid.
And I think that'll be super adorable for daddy and daughter to be that. That would be super cute.
Way to sacrifice your dream.
Go ahead and
Sacrifice.
What about you, Roni? What are you guys gonna be?
So we haven't really, like, we went back and forth about like our family costume. Like it started off, we said we were going to do like Adam's family, but then we had an extra child, so it didn't work out. And then something else we said we were going to do. I don't know. We haven't really decided, but me and Harley.
Don't
they have like right around the corner?
Well,
I know, but I can figure it out fast. I have made some costumes in literally a day and a half. My husband came home like, oh, we have to go to my work Halloween party and we all need to dress. And I had to literally pull it together. And this was one year we were like cops and robbers, and Harley was like a little baby and I made her like the money bag. Like I literally had to make it like instantly. But I know
you're good like that, like under pressure.
But we do like kind of like sometimes we'll do like a matching costume, and then the kids will want something that they have been already or something they have around the house. Like Harley wants to be one of her princess dresses, which is fine. And then Peyton has like a Spider-Man costume he wants to be. But me and Harley are also going to be Dion and Cher from Clueless.
For our costume.
We're gonna do that. Wait. And then yeah, we'll figure it out. But we said, Tyler was like, oh, let's all do Clueless and we'll make Peyton be, what's the boyfriend's name? I can't even think of his name. But we were thinking like maybe we can just
rolling with the homies.
How cute.
Oh yeah.
You guys have to post the pictures on our Mamas and Mimosas Instagram so we can see the thing. Yeah, what about you guys, Mary?
I'm gonna be lazy and we just ordered from Amazon. We usually go off of what Landon wants to be, and he wanted to be it was between a skeleton or a ghost. Like this year he's all about the spooky stuff. Yeah.
How cute.
So nice.
we're like, oh my gosh, these things are expensive. And then like you see the ghost ones that's just like a sheet with the face. And I'm like, how about the ghost one?
You could
You
make
can make
that.
that.
Either way, you
Exactly.
can make that's like those are like the
You can
easiest
make
freaking
it.
ones.
Right?
So we almost convinced him to be the ghost so it could be a lot cheaper. But then last minute, he's like, I want to be the skeleton that glows in the dark. So
Oh,
he's
that's
going to be a
little hard.
glow in the dark skeleton. I got Levi like a little pajama set that's like the skeleton. I got a pajama set that's the
You
skeleton.
could just come borrow ours. We got you, girl. We
Do
have.
you?
Yeah, we have.
I
them
already got
all.
him. And my husband's going to be at work. So it's just
Oh,
us
he
three.
works that night.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, do you usually dress up with the kids? Do you guys always dress up like as a family?
We don't do like a theme, but I try to dress up something so I don't feel like I'm just walking my kids around. Like
Oh, okay.
last year I was lame. I didn't even do anything but paint my face. And I think I tried to wear something that was like, like the Dia de los Muertos. Like I tried to do a skeleton face and just like something like a cultural shirt or something, but I look at the pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys let me get out of the house like this. And the kids were dinosaurs. Yeah. But the year before that, like when I was pregnant, I was Winnie the Pooh. Like I had a costume from Disney, and I had so I had the Pooh belly because I was pregnant, and then Lennon just was like a dinosaur. He's been a dinosaur like the last 3 years, I feel like.
That's his dinosaur.
He's a full-time dinosaur.
Yep.
Right?
He is.
How cute. Your lame is like if your lame is putting makeup on and a dress or shirt, then I'm ultra lame because I've literally just not gotten dressed at all. One time we were going to go out later on that night, we were going to go out dancing, and I had rollers in my hair. And so I just like put a robe on and acted like I was like a grandma.
You did one where you look like a comic. That was cool.
So me and my husband have gone to Halloween parties where we dress up like and
They
kind of
all
like couple costumes, but we haven't done like a family one since that olive oil and like because I always thought like, oh, I'll have my kids dressed up too and we'll have like a theme. I love group costumes. I love them. I think it's so much fun.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so let's get into the scary stuff.
Oh.
Spooky story.
These heifers want to scare me, and I'm so scary.
Okay, so have you guys ever had anything scary or unexplainable happen to you ever? Like this could be as a child or now as an adult. Tell me a scary story.
You guys are gonna think like we're crazy though, because I'm not sure if this really happened or it was a dream, or if or if I was just too little to like. I swear I think this happened. I was like, I had to be about like 7, and I remember being in the backyard playing, and we were like digging a hole, and we had been like digging this hole literally for like days. Me and some friends were just digging a hole. And if I'm not mistaken, like we dig the hole so much that there was like steam that came from the hole, and like it was kind of like red. It was kind of like red and steam came. And I remember we ran and then we went, and I remember telling my grandma, we were like screaming. We were all like freaked out. And then when we went back to the back, there was nothing there. But I remember this story, and I asked my grandma, like, do you remember when that happened? And she's like, no, I don't remember. So I'm like, well, kids' imagination sometimes get the running.
Maybe it was like the dust from the dirt.
Well, I don't know, because I could have swore it was like the devil's head is what I thought it was.
Oh my God.
So once again, I was just 7, so I don't know. But
wow. Wait, you were not alone though. You were with somebody else?
I was with friends, yeah. But I
don't know. And do they remember?
I was 7. I don't even know where they are. If you're my friend when I was 7,
can you please let me know if that was real? Let me know if
that happened, please.
Or if that was a dream. Isn't it funny? Because it's the thing. Some things that happened way back in the day. You're like, did that really happen? Or did I dream it? Yeah. It's because we're old.
We're old.
My little spook.
So I have a recent one, and then I have another one, but my husband swears, like, he's like, that sounds like you guys were on drugs. So I'll tell the recent one, and then I'll kind of let you hear the other one to see if I was. So the most recent one was
She was on drugs.
last year. So, my mom passed away last year. And so when we had the funeral, or no, the viewing, the rosary is like in the evening, the night before the funeral, we had it in like the church cathedral, and the body stays at the church overnight until like the funeral the next day. So when we were all leaving the rosary, they shut off all the lights, but they let everyone like light candles right at the back of the church. So everyone lit candles, and then like my mom's casket was there under like the Virgin Mary by all the candles. And I remember like me and my husband were one of the last ones walking out, and like one of the church employees or funeral home employees was like, would you guys like to take a picture of this? Because, the candlelight in the background with her casket and it's dark, like it's kind of like a nice picture. So my husband, like, he's all into photography. So I stayed back with him and he took the picture. And, it's already kind of like eerie because the church is dark and like the candles are, glistening. And then there's like a body in front of us. And I swear he took the pictures, and then we were about to walk out. And as like we're walking away, we're next to the casket, it makes a loud thud, like
inside the casket.
Yeah, like from the casket. And my husband and I looked at each other like, what the fuck was that? What was that? So I don't know. To me, that was like super eerie and creepy, but I don't know.
So and then that's it. You don't know?
Yeah, I don't
you
know.
guys didn't open the casket?
Like I looked. No. I looked to see if maybe like one of the the legs that they push it on like collapsed or something. And no, it looked exactly the same. And I'm like, dude, that shit came from inside the casket. So I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
And then like my other stories was like in college, I lived at a house where I had a house in college that was like a 5-bedroom, and like me and my friends rented it out from my mom. And I swear like a bunch of spooky shit happened there. And so we all say that the house was somewhat haunted, but like I tell my husband these stories and he's like, dude, that sounds like you guys were on drugs. Like like the downstairs hallway, someone would see like a figure go across the hallway, and we're all in the kitchen, but like no one's back there. Or like we had dogs, and they would always bark at the front room that was always empty. Like it's almost like when you walk in the door, there's like the dining, the formal dining room that was always empty at our house, but the dogs would always bark there. You know how they say dogs have like an extra sense. Or like one of my friends was upstairs and didn't know that all the rest of us had left for a birthday party, so she was home alone. She took a nap in the daytime, but when she woke up, like it's nighttime and everything's dark when she woke up, and she would just stayed in her room with her dog upstairs and was doing her homework, and she swears that she heard like a kid crying. And our neighbors at the time didn't have kids. And she said it was like a distinct kid's cry. So she thought maybe like one of my cousins had brought their kids over or whatever. And she opened her door and the whole house was dark because all of us took off to go to the party. So she was like, where are you guys at? Like texting me. And she's like, dude, I swear it sounded like this kid was outside my door. Yeah, or like I don't know. It's weird. Like, see, now my husband's like, dude, you also guys always got high, and like she would always get sleep paralysis. And like if you like Google it, people say that's like a witch on top of you. Have you ever heard of sleep paralysis?
Yes.
A witch on top
well, you feel like a weight on top of your chest or your legs or something, right?
Yeah, and she could not move. And that happened to her often. So I don't know, either it was that person specifically. I don't know. I don't know. My husband says we're all on drugs, but I swear the house was haunted.
Oh my
Oh
God.
good. I
That's
don't do good with
creepy.
scary stories, FYI,
Oh, sorry.
for our listeners.
So, okay, so when
I
I
feel
was
like Janelle was
little,
about to knock me off my
it's
socks and I was about to be out
no.
of here.
So it was scary at the time because I was like 10, but it's not scary as an adult when you think back at it. Like my husband thinks I'm full of shit too, but I'm like, dude, it freaking happened. So when I was little, we used to always watch like scary movies and stuff like that. So and then it was interesting because like my mom's great aunts or whatever, if they would give us like old pieces of furniture or like old little trinkets and stuff,
Ooh.
sometimes weird stuff would happen in our house and then my mom would be like, I think it's haunted, and she would get rid of it, you know, and then nothing would happen again. So it just so happened that I think one of her great aunts gave her this like duck figure, and it was just like a green duck thing, right? I don't know, it was hideous. And I swear, like the next, either that night, the next night, I don't know, because I was a kid, but I went and I was laying down and I was talking, we had bunk beds. And so I was talking to my sister, and then she fell asleep and I was looking at my window, which was having like the silhouettes of like the trees and branches and all that. And it was kind of like moving. And I swear there was a figure of like a duck, a man and a woman duck. Okay. So hold on.
Wait, like a body of a
Like-
person with a duck
like-
head?
Like they had a body, and I could draw them to this day. Like they look like characters. They kind of look like cartoon characters, but they had like a duck beak, and the man was wearing a tuxedo and the woman was wearing like a dress, like a gown. Yeah. So they're like red carpet duck ghosts, and they were waving at me in my
hell?
window, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm awake, I'm seeing this is like, so then I just like closed my eyes and started praying, and then I didn't want to look again, and then I told my mom the next morning, and she was like, draw it for me. So I drew it for her. She was like, that's really weird. So she got rid of that duck figure, and we just like went and ditched it at some dumpster. But when I tell my husband, I describe it to him, and he's like, that's from a movie. There's like, I guess, a movie that's called Howard the Duck. I've never seen it as a kid. And he's like, you must have seen the movie as a kid.
Or like a commercial?
Or something like that. And the guy wears a tuxedo. And so he totally like made it seem like, I did back then. And I'm like, oh, that does look like the characters, but I swear I had never seen that duck before. And it was not a dream. It was legit. They were in my window waving at me. So that was creepy, but
wait, you know what? I want to say this really quick because I just thought about this and I can't believe that I didn't tell this story because this was the creepiest story of my entire life. And my mom still says to this day that I was so sure that this happened. I'll make it quick. So when I was little, I used to have a doll named Susie Scribbles. I don't know if you guys remember, but she used to sit at a desk and she would help you like write your ABCs. And that's pretty much all she could do, like write your ABCs and write your numbers. And she would talk like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3.
And moved?
Yeah, she sat at like a little school desk and she moved her hands like and would write. It was
creepy.
Named Susie Scribble. She used to look like Chucky's sister to me, is what I thought.
Oh, I hate those kind of dolls.
But one day, I was in my room and she was there, and she was turned off because you have to like turn the switch on if you wanted her to talk, and she was turned off, and she like start writing like A, B, like slowly, and I'm like, why is she talking? So I got like all freaked out, and I was like, Mom, did she start talking on her own? And she's like, no, she's been talking on her own. You have to turn her on. And then my mom like got her to like show me that she was turned off. And then no, but the batteries were out. And like literally like hand on the Bible, my mom can vouch for me. And I got rid of that doll. I was like, Mom, I don't want the doll anymore. But later on, I remember we like read something. No, later on we read something that like she had got discontinued, like they had took them off the shelf. So I don't know if
like Chucky.
Like no, my mom can vouch. Like I can't believe I almost forgot that story. Yeah, freaked me out. Guys, look up Susie Scribble. Susie Scribble.
I'm gonna tell you, I think I mentioned this in our very first episode. I am deathly afraid of Chucky, like big time.
Really?
Yeah. Or like any dolls that like blink, the dolls, the
Yeah.
girl,
That
But
lay
you guys
down.
know I don't do scary movies at all. Like when I said I was scary, I'm not playing. I do no scary movies at all. Like
Like
I don't do.
ever, or like since you've
When I
had
was
kids, or
when
what?
I was little, like I had a cousin who used to like love them, so she would force me to watch them. So yeah, I seen Chucky, Freddy Krueger, all that when I was little. But that was it. I haven't watched any more scary movies since I've been an adult. Me and my husband, when we were dating, we tried. He doesn't like scary movies either, so we're
Oh.
perfect. We went to go try to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We were like, we got this. We can do it.
Oh my
We're older
gosh.
now. We went inside the theater. We sat down literally 5 minutes. Like all they were doing was driving down a road, like playing the music. And we were like, yeah, let's go. And we left out and got our money back because we had only been in there for like 5 minutes. So they gave us our money back and we were like, no. And I just stay away from scary movies. I can't do them. I just can't take it.
I used to love scary movies until I had kids. Until I had Landon, I stopped watching anything scary because I always like would imagine that like I'd look at the monitor when he's sleeping and someone's standing there. That's like my biggest fear. So I was like, I'm not gonna watch scary movies because I'm gonna start thinking shit like that. So I haven't watched.
We were obsessed with them too. Me and my husband would always go and see all the scary movies. It didn't
Really?
matter if they were demonic or murder. Like we
Yeah.
would watch them all. And then once same with Marianne. Once we had my first son, the Paranormal Activity came out. And remember the monitor? They look on the monitor and something's in the room or something's happening on the commercials, and that freaked me out. And I was like, I can't watch this movie. It's too much for me to take to even risk bringing that shit in my house.
Yep.
And so like now we could still watch like murder movies,
But it's not the same.
but it's not like I can't watch like the demonic ones.
Yeah.
And because to me, like I can't even imagine the possessing, like like my family becoming possessed, and I don't know. And I know
like a
lot
lot
of
of those
people,
scary movies have the monitor in the scary movies.
Yes.
So it's like
or
it
the
doesn't
toys,
help.
or the toys that are just like they're playing and they're off. Like the same thing. Like I would hear the baby's little piano just go off in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh,
What the hell?
or like those wind up little dolls or trinkets that sit on like the ornament ones. Like my mother-in-law had given us these little clowns, and they have these little wind up, and then they play music. And in the certain type of weather, I think in the cold weather, it'll make them like turn on their own. I don't know. And I'm like, these are all boxed. We're boxing all this shit up because that would freak me out. Anything that would play in the middle of the night.
How about if you wake up and you're scared to look at the clock because you're scared it's going to be, say, 3:00?
Yes, because of that movie.
What does that mean?
Paranormal Activity. So
I've never seen it.
That movie, it's like all the demonic stuff happens at 3
even
o'clock.
what was that movie?
It's like every movie has that at 3 o'clock.
The girl gets possessed. Oh, man.
3 o'clock, man.
And they say it's 3:00 is like the demon hour. And I always would wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, don't look at the clock. It's going to say 3.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means because I didn't even mess with that movie. Last scary movie I think I saw was The Blair Witch Project. And how long ago was that?
Dude,
I don't mess with scary movies at all.
That was junior high.
Yeah.
That was the last scary movie. Or maybe it was, I didn't make it through Texas Chainsaw. So yeah.
That's so funny.
See, my dad loved scary movies. Like he used to love scaring the shit out of us. So we grew up on all of the Texas Chainsaw, the original ones, all of that gore. And I feel like we started really young too. Like by the time I was 7, because my older siblings, they would watch it, and us, they would be like, here, put a pillow in front of your face. And you're like a kid, so you're like,
peeking on top of
I'm not watching. But then you regret it right after, and you're like, dear God, please let me forget this.
Watch over me tonight.
Okay, so wait, has anything weird happened to your kids, like that you can think of?
Who wants it? Well, so my oldest son, Devin, I think still to this day, and he freaks people out. I don't know if he's ever been over your house and you've seen this happen, but ever since he was a baby, he would be like sleeping and then he'll just like
Oh, is he a
sit straight up.
sleepwalker?
No, he would just sit straight up in the crib and just sit, and we'll be like, Devin, Devin, and he'll just be at a blank stare. And then
Three
it's so
o'clock in
funny.
the morning.
I don't know what time it was, but what's so funny is he still does it, and he went to the science camp in like 6th grade, and he said that like I guess none of his friends or anybody knew that he did this, and in the middle of the night in the little camp thing he did that, and he said he freaked out his friends so bad that his friends were like, something's wrong with Devin, that
He
they
just
went and got
sits
the
up and
yeah.
lays
He
back
like
down.
it's like he's in a daze. Like, yo, he's up. It's like he just sits up and he's like
His
in a
eyes are
daze.
open.
They're open, but he's like he's not. It's like he's in a blank stare, and he's been doing
For
this
how
since he was a
long?
baby.
Like how long does he
It
sit up
depends.
for?
Sometimes he can sit up like anywhere from like 2 minutes to I've seen him sit up from 2 to 5 minutes. Like it just depends. And
You told the doctor?
he still does it. She tell the doctor.
Have you told the doctor? I
told
wonder
the
if it is like a sleep
But he doesn't do anything or he doesn't say anything. It's almost like I don't know. He really has been doing this for so long. He just wakes up out of his sleep like
And he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember doing it either.
he doesn't remember. He doesn't say anything. Like even if I'm like, Devin, are you okay? He won't answer. And then he'll go just lay back
I
down.
wonder if it's like a minor sleepwalking, but he just never gets up. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like a sleepwalker, but he's not walking.
Mm-hmm. That's what I feel like it is.
I mean, I've never known personally.
But now
sleepwalker.
now I'm calling this doctor tomorrow.
That would scare the shit out of me.
Janelle, I'm
If you
sure
just
he's
saw
done it
your
over
baby.
You should ask like Jack or something. Has he ever seen him do it?
These
Because
boys sleep through everything. They would not even wake up.
Oh.
Like you can run and scream in their room and they don't wake up. They're crazy. Oh my god, that would trip me out if as a baby.
Is trippy.
What about you, Marianne?
No.
Anything weird happen to your kids?
Not that I can think of, other than when they're little, like, you know how they always just stare at like a random thing at the ceiling. I always just used to get creeped out by that. Like, oh, are they looking at like a spirit or something? But
Yeah.
nothing like Roni's.
Okay, so my dad passed away. It'll be 2 years in December, and he had cancer, and towards his last week of life, he was going through, well, it's weird, like a transition, right? Into death, obviously. And it's interesting because I talk to people who their family suffered, like, you know, died from cancer, and they all say the same thing, like their last week of life or their last few days, they start seeing things and they start talking about people that have passed and stuff. And so he did that. And it was really trippy because my dad wasn't like
He wasn't into that kind of stuff.
He wasn't into that at all, you know? And I remember spending the night with him because he was getting up and he was sleepwalking, and we were afraid that he was going to fall down the stairs. And so I laid with him, and he was looking around and he was like, everybody's in my room. Like he was telling me that everybody was in his room, that they're like, people were fixing the faucet on the ceilings and sawing this, and there was all this commotion going on in his room, and it was just me and him in his room, and he was explaining things very vividly. And I was asking, you know me, I asked a bunch of questions. So I'm like, Dad, what is he wearing? Like, have you seen him before? What does he look like? And his eyes are open and he's just like looking at everybody and talking to me and talking to them. And it was just the most weirdest thing ever. And so the next day he passed away, and the night that he passed away in the morning, and that night was Christmas Eve. And so we spent the night at that house, and we slept in his bed, and it was me, my husband, and my daughter, which was only one at the time. So she was sleeping right in between us. And it was so weird because in the middle of the night, we wake up and she sits up, like Devin, okay? She sits up And she's a baby, mind you, and she's looking at the ceiling and she's just like looking around like so intrigued. And I poke my husband because I don't want to scare her or startle her. So I like poked him and I'm like look at her, you know, and he's like, yeah, like I see. And she's like smiling and she's like reaching for like at different things at like the same movements that my dad was doing the night before. She was doing them, you know, like reaching for stuff. And it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is like creepy. But also like, is Papa here, you know? So then I'm like, and I looked at her and then she looks at me and she's still smiling. And I'm like,
at least she's not scared.
What are you doing?
At least she looks happy.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's go to sleep, you know? And she couldn't go to sleep. She was just too like into it. Yeah. So my husband ended up having to take her home that night. So he left my parents' house and he like drove her, and it was like midnight or 2:00 in the morning, maybe even 3:00 in the morning.
Why did he leave? Why did he
just smiling?
Because we weren't getting any sleep. She was she would not lay down. She was just sitting up the whole time and like babbling and like reaching for the air. And we've never seen her do that before. And I don't think she was going to, whatever she was seeing in his room, she was not going to get any sleep. So he decided to take her home and then she fell asleep. And then, but I was wigged out. I was like, okay, now I'm alone in my bed, like in this bed all by myself.
I was just going to say, they left you by yourself.
Yeah, but my mom, she was in the next room, thank goodness. Like we all woke up and were like, this is so weird. Like it was like that week was just the weirdest, interesting thing.
No, I think I mentioned this to you though. Like my husband's mom passed away from cancer, and the night before she passed away, she saw like I remember her saying she saw a pretty woman at the corner, like by the front door, and we were like, there's no one there. And then the next day, like she passed, but I think I had mentioned that like the day before, for some reason they like, I don't know, the angels coming to get them. I don't know. Yeah. It is gnarly.
It is interesting.
Very.
Oh, so have you, okay, so first, have you guys had your kids suffer from night terrors? Or how do you know the difference between night terrors and nightmares?
Do you guys know the difference?
No. Shall I Google?
No, because I've heard people say like, "Oh, my kids are having night terrors," and I'm like, "Well, how do you know that they're night terrors and not just like a bad nightmares?
Dream? Are they not the same thing?"
No, I thought they were the same thing.
I thought they were.
I don't know, but okay. So, how do you know that your babies are having nightmares, though?
So, Levi, I don't know if it's like a phase he's going through, but
and he's 1.
He is 22 months old. How bad is that? I don't even know. He's like 21, 22 months old, and I said in our other episode, he's like my better sleeper. So he normally sleeps through the night. And just recently, he's been waking up in the middle of the night screaming, not even like just crying. It's crying, screaming, "Mama!" like scared kind of thing. Like, you know how you can distinguish their cries, like something that hurts, something that they're scared of, or whatever. It's like something is scaring him or he doesn't want to be there. It's that kind of cry. So I don't know if it's a phase or if it's because now all the Halloween decorations are out and we're seeing all the skeletons and he sees all the scary things his brother's like drawing or watching. Like, I don't know if it's associated with all that stuff, but he's like screaming in the middle of the night. So I'm assuming he's having nightmares, but I don't know if it's a phase or not.
How often is it happening?
Almost like every night, every other night, maybe.
Really?
Like it happened last night. Like maybe the night before. Yeah. And my old Landon is wetting the bed all of a sudden, who's fully potty trained. I'm making him go pee before bed. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's all the scary shit that's around our, like, you know, our neighbors have their house super scary and I don't know. And Landon's all into the spooky stuff all of a sudden. Like, as he was growing up, I never really exposed him to like the more scarier figures. Like, I always did like the cute ghosts or like cartoon stuff. But this year he's into the creepy stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming it's all the Halloween stuff, but maybe it's just a phase. Because
he's
Landon's 5.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 6 in February.
I know when you first asked me if my sons had done that, I didn't remember because I feel like I never associated it with a certain time of the year or anything like that. I know that at some point one of my boys had wet the bed, like had a couple accidents, but it wasn't like consecutively. So I didn't really think anything. I just thought like, oh, okay, I didn't have him go pee or something.
It's been like once a week since October started, I want to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So I've been like doubling up his mattress protectors so that if he comes up in the middle of the night to my room, all I gotta do is pull that top mattress protector off and he's gotta like dry one night. Then I just go back to sleep.
Does he drink anything before bed or like an
They
hour or two
both
before
have
bed?
waters in there next to their bed, but I always make him go pee like right before to prevent, that, because he used to do it like when we were potty training him. So I was like, okay, you got to go pee before bed. And he hasn't. He's been really good about like going to the bathroom in the middle of the night or not wetting the bed. And then all of a sudden, like he now is wetting the bed again. But I'll ask him and he's like, oh, I was dreaming that I was peeing.
Those are real
tricky.
dreams.
Those are, I was like,
I've had a few my day.
So
dude,
I'm like,
even as an adult, I feel like there's times that I dream that I'm peeing and I just can't find the right toilet. It's
I don't know.
Awful.
I am like, what is going on? Are you having a nightmare or what are you thinking about? He's like, I dreamt that I was peeing in the bathroom.
It's like,
so I'm
what's
like,
your problem? I'm getting up and peeing.
Or he's smart enough to tell me that, and so he won't get in trouble.
If he's saying that, it has to be true, because that really happens. Have you ever felt so tired where you're like, I don't want to get up, and then you just dream really quick that you got up, and then you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm still in the bed.
Yeah, I have. I could vouch for the kid.
I can too.
What about the nights that your son?
Got you.
What about the nights that your son wakes up with the night terrors? Do you think that has it ever happened on the same night? Because maybe that scares the shit out of him, hearing his little brother scream and he pees the same night.
No, like they're both heavy sleepers. So like, cause they're in one room now, like they're in a bunk bed. So when Levi's screaming, like I'll ask Landon the next day, did you hear him crying? And he's like, no. So, but it's never happened. No. So the nights that Levi does not wake up screaming, it's Landon P.
Damn, you move one extreme to another.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like when Landon was this Levi's age, he was doing that. So I don't know if it was a almost 2-year-old phase, or because they're both January, February babies, like it's around the same phase. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or it's October and it's all the scary shit. I don't know.
Okay, so if it stops come around November, then you know that it was really October.
Yeah, I'll have to pay attention now.
Yeah. Let us know.
I'll get back to you.
And to our listeners, if your kids have done the same thing, let us know in our Facebook group what you think this is. Or, and if your kids have had night terrors.
And if there's a difference.
And if there's a difference between night terrors and nightmares. I feel like I know my kids have randomly scream in the middle of the night and you just run in and you're like, are you okay? And then they're like, fine. But other than that, like nothing consistent to where I was worried that they were having like nightmares. I know some of our family, their kids have had like consistent nightmares, or like stuff happening in the baby's sleeps or in the baby's sleep. But no, we haven't.
And why I think Levi's having bad dreams is because sometimes I don't go in there and he just goes back to sleep on his own. So I'm like, he was dreaming about something that made him cry.
Yeah.
Or he was like sleeping still, crying, screaming. So
Yeah, that
Wow.
it probably is a little scary dream. And then they're babies, so what doesn't scare Landon, that's 5, it could scare him.
Yeah.
He's a little guy.
I know.
Absolutely.
You have your kids ever gone through anything like that, Ronnie? Like a nightmare or anything like that? Other than your child who sits up in the middle of the night?
I mean, I feel like every once in a while, one of them will tell me that they had a bad dream, but nothing like where they're waking up in the middle of the night, like screaming or anything. Just waking up and sitting up, possessed. That's it.
Okay, so when do you guys start letting your kids watch scary movies? Like at what ages will you start, or have you already started? And which ones do you guys start with? Like, do you guys ease them in, or do you guys go full blood and gore? Or what's your plan if you haven't started?
Wow. You want to go, Marianne? You can go first.
Oh, I was just gonna say I barely started letting Landon watch like Halloween movies. Like
what?
Like
Halloween
Casper or
friendly
like not scary but like Halloween-ish or like Hocus Pocus or I mean it's
that could be
ghoulish, but it's not like a scary movie where someone's getting murdered.
Yeah.
Are those considered scary movies though? Like the
it could be,
Casper and Hocus Pocus? Yeah, I guess it could, huh?
That could be kind of creepy. I know. The baby thinks that Jack Skellington, she thinks that Nightmare Before Christmas is scary. The first 5 minutes of it, when they're like, I am the goblin, how do you know your bed?
Yeah.
She sits there and closes her eyes for the first 5 minutes, and then she'll open them for the rest of the movie. And I'm like,
yeah, see, like Landon hasn't seen that one yet.
Oh, really? Nightmare Before Christmas?
I'll probably let him this year just to see what he does.
That's the best movie. I love it.
It is good. So like since we don't really do scary movies over here,
never
had like I don't know, no one really does scary movies. However, the little girl in the family, she loves like the little scarier movies. Like she's all into anything with like a villain. Like I mean, Little Mermaid is not scary, but her favorite is like Ursula in there. Like anything with the villain, and like anything with witches.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely love it. There's a movie called Witches, and it's an old school movie from like the 90s, and it like came up on like Netflix or something. And it has like the Grand High Witch where they take off the mask and they look crazy. Loves it. One of her favorite movies. Everybody, even Peyton was kind of like covered his face when they showed that witch, and she was just like, look at her, that's the Grand High Witch. And I was like, okay. So that's kind of new because she's kind of into it, she likes it, but that's the like extent of like what she'll watch. We haven't really let her watch the big dog stuff, but I'm sure she probably would like it, actually.
And your teenager, he doesn't try to watch any of that?
Nope. I think he went with his friends to go see it because it was a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And it was like so jumpy that I was like, you shouldn't have took your ass to see it. You knew you couldn't see it. Like, you never watch scary movies. I don't know why you tried. And he was like, I know, Mom. He was just so like any little thing. I like went behind him and like touched his hair, and he literally jumped to the ceiling. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
How funny. So like I said, we were pretty much raised on scary movies, and my husband loves them too. So we just can't wait to show them to our kids. But we've waited because we don't want them to have, nightmares and stuff like that. So
waited till when though?
Well, we're waiting. So okay. So my oldest, he's 11, and I feel like he's the one who started asking. He's like, "Oh, I want to see it." when it came out in the theater, and I'm like, well, you have to see the first one before you see the new ones, you know, because I feel like the first one's not as scary because it's like the graphics and all that. And so we watched it with him, and he's so literal, like my husband, and so he's like, this wasn't even scary, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he really wasn't scared by the first one, the original one. And then so we went to the movie theater for the other one, and he said it, like, you know, it startled him and stuff, but he was fine. He's like, I just want to see all of them now. Like, he wants to see Michael Myers and all this. And I'm like, I don't know if you're ready for all the murder. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know when we should start. Like, he's very mature for his age. I don't fear that he'll have like scary dreams and stuff. My little one, my 7-year-old, forget it. That kid, he could see a commercial and he's having nightmares for weeks. So I definitely don't want to expose anything to him, but I don't know what's the rule. Like, I know eventually we will watch them with them when they get older. I just don't know when, you know. I guess what is it, rated R? What rated R is for what ages? 17 years and older, or what is rated R?
Yeah, 17 with the parent or something.
Dude,
but don't you think it depends on the family? Because I have a friend who, I don't want to offend anyone or how I say this. Let's see. Her family style is like very like, they like scary movies, like they're all into that. And like even the way they dress, everything. And her 4-year-old like legit sister
is about it.
Oh yeah, like literally watch like Michael Myers and like like the stuff that I'm like, huh? But that's just like, that's their thing. And he's not scared, he watches it. So I feel like it kind of just depends on what you're into, I guess, or what you think is appropriate for your child.
Well, like, we were that family. Like we
were
were that
Adam's family.
No, I mean, we not my children, but like growing up, there was 5 of us, and my parents, every weekend we would rent a scary movie, we'd rent a funny movie and an action movie, you know, and like we'd always end it with the scary movie. And we, in order to watch it, we had to prove that we were brave, because obviously if we were being sissies, my dad would be like, get out of here, you can't watch it, you know. So we, even though we were scared, we were like, we're not scared, no, we're not scared. So that we could all see it together, because nobody wanted to go in the other room by
even more scared, right?
Exactly. So we were like there as a family watching it, and then they would ship us all off to bed, and we were just like, oh my God, why did we? There were nights that me and my sister would sleep with a Bible by our heads, because we were just so afraid.
Oh my goodness.
So obviously I don't want my kids to go through all of that. I want them to be able to watch it when they know it's fake, you know.
Like for the longest time, you know, the part in Moana at the end where like the fiery monster is like crawling towards her, like that would scare Landon for the longest time. So I'm like, that is like not an image you want to like look at.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Every kid is different. Yeah.
I remember when Devin was little, he used to be so scared of A Bug's Life. Like he he was so scared of A Bug's Life. So that's the kind of family we are over here. That I got one that was scared of A Bug's Life.
Oh my God, that's so cute. Okay, so then let's talk about Halloween. What do you guys normally do for Halloween? What's your guys' Halloween traditions?
We normally like hit up like the trunk or treats, and then like we'll do a round around our neighborhood and call it a night and check out their
like
candy.
The city trunk or treats, or like for church, or what is it?
Schools do them a lot.
The schools, or like there was the last 2 years, or we went to like, there's a big church in the town near us that does like a huge carnival thing. So we hit that up a couple years, but mostly like the kids, like Landon would only last like 2 cul-de-sacs over, and then he's like wants to come home and dig into his bag. So we don't make it very far.
Oh yeah.
So we'll come back, and then I'll hand out candy to whoever's coming to our door.
Do they do it big? Like, do you guys get a lot of kids in your area or not? Not quite.
Not really. We do at the beginning, you get all the little kids, and then like there's a break for some reason, and then all the teenagers come after. But like some of them are not even dressed; they're just trick or treat. And I'm like, what the hell are you?
A teenager. That's scary enough. Here's the candy.
My husband gets so pissed. He's like, no, if they don't have a costume, they don't get candy. And
Does
I'm like,
he?
but babe, what if they're broke? Like, cause I mean, we grew up with hand-me-down costumes too. So I'm like, you have to have, where's your heart? What
But
if
there's some of
couldn't
these kids don't
afford
even have an
costumes?
answer. At least have an answer like, oh, I'm a hobo or whatever.
Oh, I'm poor. I'm sorry. My parents couldn't afford a costume this year. What if they
Which
told
is
you that?
a good point though, Janelle, because like that is true. Like you have to consider that because I remember I had plenty of homemade costumes where my grandma would dress me up and be like, you're an old lady today, or you're a grown lady, or
But at least you
put
could
enough
say
praise
I'm an
into
old
it.
lady.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
hear
a
you.
good point.
If they're holding an iPhone, they are not that poor.
True enough. True enough.
That's true. What about you, Rennie? What's your tradition?
For us, so we normally just keep it traditional with going trick-or-treating, or if we have a party or something that we're going to. But I always, on Halloween day, like our meals will be Halloween themed
You
throughout the
would.
day. Like, so breakfast will be Halloween themed, lunch, snack, and then dinner. I do that.
I hate
You even cook dinner?
Mm-hmm. And do like sometimes I'll do like
That's a
I'll do
nice
something
rest.
simple like though, but I'll make like a soup or something and like call it like witch stew or something like that. Like I don't go
You are
crazy,
so
crazy,
cool. I freaking
but
hate you.
I'll just do all the things that day
I
and
want
trick or
you to be
treat.
my mama. Mama.
Wow.
Wait, okay. Do you guys go in your neighborhood? Because you guys have a lot of big hills. Or do you guys drive somewhere else to go trick-or-treating?
We actually go to our old neighborhood.
Oh,
We
okay.
go to our old neighborhood because we don't get over here in this neighborhood. We don't get trick-or-treaters. No one comes in that gate because it's gated, so no one comes in here. We get not one trick-or-treater, but we drive over to our old neighborhood and it's like a ton of kids out trick-or-treating. I don't know how it will be this year, but we'll see.
So usually we'll have a pumpkin carving like gathering because there's so many kids in our immediate family. Like I have 5 siblings and there's 10 grandkids. So we started a tradition where we'll go to somebody's house and we'll carve pumpkins. Usually the weekend before Halloween, but it's been so hot lately, like the last couple of years, that our pumpkins will totally wilt and
Spoil.
mold before Halloween. So we now are doing like a pumpkin painting party kind of
Oh.
so that we don't have to carve it until, a day or two before Halloween. So that's normally what we do is like a pumpkin carving party just to get the kids together because everybody usually lives kind of far in different cities. So we don't go trick-or-treating together. For the ones that live close by and they want to partake, then they usually come to my house and because we do get a lot of kids in the neighborhood and we'll go trick-or-treating around the neighborhood. And like you said, we only make it like 3 blocks and the kids are over it, but we'll set up like a bonfire in our front yard. So, and then it's funny because my mom and my mother-in-law will come over and they'll drink wine and hand out candy to all the kids. And so when we come back, we just have like a bonfire and hang out in the front yard and serving
cool.
the kids. So it's always like nice and relaxing,
Mm-hmm.
So, but this year is gonna be different because I don't think we're allowed to do the whole trick-or-treating thing. So we're just gonna do like we talked to some of the neighbors and we're gonna do like a mini little block
Like a
party.
block party. How fun.
Yeah, so we live kind of in a cul-de-sac, so we're gonna like put up little canopies and each one of us will decorate a canopy and then we're supposed to put together like a game for the kids. So I'm gonna be like a like a bag-o toss type of game, like a cornhole type of game. and one of them's like pin the teeth on the pumpkin or whatever. So we're trying to make it still fun for the kids so they could see other kids and dress up and stuff. And we'll probably have like a costume party. Costume. What is it called? Contest. Yeah.
How cute.
So we're just gonna do something like that, which is exciting because like this is the first time we're gonna get together with our actual neighbors and do like a block thing, you know, because normally we'll do like family.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. The kids are kind of bummed about not going trick-or-treating, but they've been okay. They've been fine as long as there's candy.
They say we can't
as
go
long as there's candy.
I thought they lifted it and said we can. Just or it's your discretion.
Yeah, it's like low risk, medium risk, high risk. Like it's high risk to attend like what is it called? The trunk or treats that are not drive through or like where there's a huge gathering, or to do the traditional trick-or-treating's high risk, and like the usual like COVID restrictions. Like low risk is obviously staying home and doing your own family. Like they're saying some like you can do, there was ideas. I don't even know where I got this information. Like you could do like an Easter egg hunt but with like candy and make it like spooky in your house. Like they were throwing out ideas like that. And that's low risk. So it's not like the cops are gonna pull you over for trick-or-treating. It's kind of your.
So how do you guys feel about it personally, trick-or-treating right now? Are you guys gonna trick-or-treat right now, or?
I don't want to take them trick-or-treating, but we're gonna have candy in case we have trick-or-treaters. So we're like, his old preschool's doing a trunk or treat, but it's a drive-through, so we'll probably do that. The church by us is doing like a drive-through trunk or treat. And what else were we gonna do? His school, like they start in-person school next week, so they already have like a Halloween activity for them, so he's getting like Halloween activities stuff. And he's gonna have candy. So I don't think it's like a huge bummer for him. Like he knows we're not gonna go to the other houses and knock on the door and say trick or treat. But I think telling him he's still getting candy, it's like, okay, like he doesn't care. Like we got him a costume and we're just gonna have a bonfire out in our driveway. And I was telling my husband, like, I'll have like a bucket or something and I'll put a little bit of candy for like the kids who want to come and trick or treat. They can get it out of the bucket. And then I'll like put a little bit more for the next trick or treater. So it's not like what you throw all the bag of candy in there and somebody comes and takes a like shitload. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've had people do that. Like you leave candy out and like within the first 10 minutes, all of it's gone. So at least I'll be able to monitor it.
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea.
That's what we're doing this year.
Nice. For us, we're going to go to this like drive-through Halloween experience thing that my mother-in-law found. I think it's like at the fairgrounds, and it's like they set it up and you drive through, and almost like a trick-or-treat experience. And then I just figured we're going to just come back home and watch some movies, and I'll have candy and some lights and smoke and try to make it spooky and fun, and that's it, because not too much we can do. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna be robbed of the experience either way it goes.
Are they bummed about it? Have they expressed like being bummed out, or no?
Not really, no. They have. I don't think it hit them yet until it's the day, and I'm like, even though this is the day you're supposed to go around and get candy, we're not. Hopefully that little drive-through experience will be like good enough to suppress the realization that they ain't going door to door.
It's funny because my kids, the older ones are, well, my oldest is usually not up to dress as a family costume. Like he wants to usually do his own thing, but because he's not going to school and having to wear this costume in his Halloween parade, he's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll partake in the group costume. So I'm like, yes, gotta take advantage of it when I can. And then for the okay, so going back to like the costumes and stuff, did you guys say that you let your kids pick their costumes? I know you said you let Landon pick his costume and you kind of based your family off of that. Roni, do you let your kids pick their costumes?
Yeah, we do. We do like to, depending on what we're doing. I let them pick it, and then we usually do like a family one if we're going somewhere.
So you'll have two costumes, like one that they pick and then holy shit.
No, but I usually like, even if you see past pictures, like half of the costumes I usually always make, especially if it's something like my kids give me crazy stuff that they want to be. Like one year, Devin wanted to be like a dead nerd or something, and I had to like try to think of it was nowhere for me to get ideas of how do you make this. So I had to literally think it up from scratch. Like they give me some crazy stuff to put together, and I'll just go to like the thrift stores and just put it together the best I can.
That's awesome though. Oh, see, I love that. I want to do two costumes, one for school and one for family.
Yeah, because I feel bad because I don't want to like, and it's probably just me because usually if we go somewhere, I want the family outfit, but then I still want them to be able to like be what they want to be for Halloween. It's kind of like their holiday.
Yeah,
So
but it's so expensive. And that's a lot of work too. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Not really. A lot of work, yes.
It's funny because I'll try to persuade the younger ones, like what I want them to, like while they're young, I can kind of say like, oh, do you want to be this? Do you want to be that? Like last year, I try to keep at least the kids kind of on the same theme. So like last year, the boys were something from Fortnite, and Ray's so little that I was like, okay, I'm going to dress her up as a Fortnite character, like one of the girls, so that it'll kind of be cohesive, you know? But then also because that was for school. So when we went to their school parade, I dressed her up like as a Fortnite character. But then at home when we went trick-or-treating, I wanted her to be something cute, and because she was only 2, you know, so then I did like a funny like a fuzzy little unicorn or whatever.
So that's 2 costumes.
But it was only her because the boys had to have, you know, they wanted to trick-or-treat with that one. And to me, because I know how fast they grow, and Ray, she's my only girl and she's gonna be my only girl, and so I'm like, I know there's a small little window of time until she starts picking out what she wants to actually be. So I'm just trying to have her be like something that I want her to be, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's easier to dress little like babies and like little kids in multiple outfits because their outfits are like this big, so yeah. You can make something super fast.
Yeah, you usually I think we pick them when we're little because I was obsessed with Cabbage Patch dolls when I was little, and once I had a girl, I was like, I'm making Harley a Cabbage Patch doll, and I made her costume a Cabbage Patch doll one year.
So because I'm obsessed with like group costumes, my daughter was born the same year with 3 other nieces. So like there's 4 girls born the same year. And I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, we can dress them up as like Care Bears or trolls, or, you know, like do something like a group costume, like, oh, Powder Puff Girls, like they could do something cute. Mm-hmm. But nobody ever is down for it. Like the only one that's down for it is my sister, because she's the one who usually comes trick-or-treating with us. Everybody else kind of does their own thing. So I'm like, well, you can't have just 2 Powder Puff Girls. It doesn't make sense. You know, like there's 4 of them. I wanted, in a perfect world, I would just take their children and just dress them. Okay, so how do you guys control the candy? Like once are you guys strict on like? I
eat it.
Do you go through it? Do you guys go through it that night, or do you kind of just let them eat whatever they want to eat?
We come back and we sort through it, like to make sure that the candy's safe. And then my husband and I kind of like sneak our favorite ones out of the bag. And then we let him take, because he's very, Landon's very possessive of his stuff. So he's like, I want it in my room. I need to see it. Like, I want it because we used to be like, oh, we'll put it like in the pantry or we'll put it over here, and he's like, no, I want it. I want to hold it. I want it. Like he wants it. So we'll let him keep his little basket, but like at night or something, I'll like slowly like take stuff out.
Creep into his room.
I'm like, I don't know, maybe the ants ate it. And so I mean, he's never questioned it, but I'm sure now that he's getting older, he might start questioning it. So we'll see how it goes this year.
That is so funny.
For us, of course, you guys know I've said plenty of times how many allergies my kids have. So I always have to check their candy and take out all the peanut stuff in there and all the stuff that they may be allergic to. But I usually, it's so funny because this is so horrible, but there's been times when like later on, like months later, I'll find like a bag of Halloween candy that I hid from them because I don't want them to eat it all, and then they forget about it. Like after a good few days, they literally will forget about it.
Yeah,
and it just sits there, and I'll find it later and then throw it away because it's old. So that's what I do. I check it and then I put it away, and then I control like if they get a piece after dinner. Like, okay, you can pick one from the bag till it dies down, and then I just toss it.
That is so funny. So when we were kids, we would do the same thing, sort through it out, like through like the open ones and throw it away and stuff. So we basically have them dump out their candy right when they come back. They separate it though from not only just the open ones, but their favorites. So and we usually come back before trick-or-treating is over, so we still get trick-or-treaters coming through our door.
The ones you don't like.
So they'll separate for the keepers, and then the ones that they don't like, that I know that they'll never eat, they give it to me, and we dump it right back into the pile to distribute to the rest of the kids, the community. And then for the leftovers that we have, we'll just put it in like a little bowl. And so when people come over, they'll just pick from those ones, the crap candy.
Oh my goodness.
The good ones, the kids will, I'll put them all in like a Ziploc and put their names on it because they refuse to share. So each one of them will get a Ziploc. And this is for Easter too. Like I'll give them a big Ziploc, we put their name on it, and then I make them put it in the pantry where the snacks are. And then they can have it like after lunch and like before dinner or like right after dinner or something, like as a dessert. But I definitely have to control it because I've found like wrappers in their room and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna have. And we used to have ant problems, so I don't want ants in our house. So, but it's funny because I will take some, like, they're in the cabinet, so I'll just go in and take the ones that I like. And I thought, oh, there's so many, my kids never gonna know. But my older one will be like, Mom, I had a recess in here. Like, did you see it? And I'm like, no, ask your mom.
Right here, right here on your face.
So that's how we.
Interesting though, like I feel like the last couple of years, like Landon doesn't end up with a lot of candy because people are starting to hand out like the more health conscious things, like the little bags of pretzels or like the little Rice Krispies, cheese puffs. Like there's doing pencils. Like it's interesting to see that like it's not as much candy anymore, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I'll take these trail mix and these pretzels.
That's true. It is. We even got one year some lady gave out DVDs.
What?
Yeah, it was movies. I remember, Janelle, you comment on it, like someone gave you guys movies, because I think I posted something because I couldn't believe it. I don't remember what movie it was, but I was like, what the heck?
Last year he got a toothbrush, like a little kid toothbrush.
Dude, that's expensive to just keep giving out toothbrushes.
It must have been like a dentist or something.
Maybe. It was it's interesting. And then like, when you go to the like Target or something, you see all these like the snacks, and they're like little like snack size, and it's like you can hand them out as treats. So we don't end up with a lot of candy.
We've gotten like packs of popcorn before.
Yeah.
Like legit popcorn packs. Yeah. But it's funny because my husband will go to Costco and buy a box of like the huge chocolate bars, you know, like the actual legit
big
size,
ones.
the big ones. And he's like, these are for the best costumes in town. So he'll literally give them out to people like the kids
that's
who
cool.
have like really
That's so
great costumes.
cool. That's a good idea. Yeah.
And sometimes he'll be stingy because he's so picky, and I'm like, dude, this one deserves it. And we'll be arguing in front of the kid, like, give him the damn bar. He deserves the costume. He has a great costume. And he'll be like, okay, give him a handful. Like he's so funny with them, but that's funny. He gets into the spirit. All right, guys. Well, you guys heard about our Halloween. Let us know how you guys are doing Halloween so we can get more ideas on our private Facebook group. Be safe out there, friends. Happy Halloween.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you want to catch up on our previous episodes, visit mamasmimosas.com, where you'll get access to all of our podcast show notes, our YouTube videos, and our private Facebook group, where we chat with you about each episode topic and host live Q&As with our fave mom tribe. Can't wait to see you there.